Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Yonathan. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom. All right, so today we're going to talk about what differentiates the falling of this kingdom, this oncoming kingdom, between all the ones that fell in the past. Because kingdoms, they have a what? They have a shelf life. Okay, so there's a video I want to show you guys by Ray Dalio. He does some animations and it makes it plain of what an actual world order. What is it? How does a country become a world order? Okay, and through prophecy, we're gonna show okay, this kingdom's shelf life is it's coming up, and then we're gonna say okay, well, we know by the MOTB, that's one of the prophecies before the kingdom of heaven is established. We know the World War III and the particular players that have to be in it. This is that time. So we're measuring the time diligently within itself, which is why prophecy is so important. The scriptures say the spirit of Yahweh Shah is the spirit of prophecy, right? So, that's a big how do you say qualifier. Even though if somebody is, calling himself a man of the Lord, or if you're perceiving somebody being a man of the Lord, they got to be diving into prophecy and going into the details and explaining it. When you have a lot of these apologists and these scoffers come up, that's something that they shy away from. If they try to break a prophecy down, they break it down wrong one. And when you break down prophecy, you have to be able to link it up with the volume of the book, and that's something that they can't do. All right, so they lose every time. There's a video I gotta upload too today. There's a guy that comes up here in Dallas, every now and then. Call him Mr. I Don't Know, and I'll upload that video after this. But yeah. With no further ado, let's dive into this video I want to show you guys. All right, it's the changing world order. That's what he titled the video, and the guy's name once again is, let me get down here, Principles by Ray Dalio. Right, so we're gonna watch maybe like the first eight minutes of the video, and we'll go from there. Okay.
The times ahead will be radically different from those that we've experienced in our lifetimes, though similar to many times before. How do I know that? Because they always have been. Over my roughly 50 years of global macroeconomic investing, I've learned the hard way that the most important events that surprised me did so because they never happened in my lifetime. These painful surprises led me to study the last 500 years of history for similar situations, where I saw that they had indeed happened many times before, with the ups and the downs of the Dutch, British, and U.S. empires. And every time they did, it was a sign of the changing world order. This study taught me valuable lessons that I'm going to pass along to you here in a distilled form. You can find the comprehensive version in my book, Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order. Let me begin with a story that brought me to this point, about how I learned to anticipate the future by studying the past. In 1971, when I was a young clerk on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, the United States ran out of money and defaulted on its debts. That's right, the U.S. ran out of money. How? Well, back then, gold was the money used in transactions between countries. Paper money, like the dollar, was like checks in a checkbook in that it had no value other than it could be exchanged for gold, which was the real money. States was spending a lot more money than it was earning by
So what he's going into?
Or these paper money checks.
All right, Salakia. What he's going into is what you'll hear the apostles go into all the time when they talk about, you know, money used to be equivalent to the gold. So you only printed as much money as you had equivalent in gold. So what the U.S. did is they said, oh, we're not going to do that. Now they went to the Middle East and they made a deal with those countries in the Middle East, right? Arabia. They said, hey, everybody needs oil. If you sell oil using the dollar, you know, in exchange, we'll handle all your military problems. And that's why you see, you know, wherever there's oil, you see America go. All right? Because that's what keeps the dollar worth anything now, is that it's pegged to oil. Now, that's why it's such a big deal that Russia's trying to, you know, break away from that. Because Russia, you know, have a lot of resources. I believe it's almost half of the world's oil, half of the world's wheat. They produce a lot, right? So them trying to break away and use a different currency is going to destabilize the dollar. It's not going to be immediate, but it's going to start. You're going to see it start to ramp up, and as it starts to ramp up, it happens faster and faster as it ramps up. Now, let me get back to this video really quick. So yeah, you can no longer exchange that paper money, that IOU, for gold. And you'll hear the apostles and others always go into that because it plays a big part into, you know, how this devil will set his system up. Let me continue on here. There we go.
Then it had gold in the bank to exchange for them. As people turned these checks into the bank for gold money, the amount of gold in the U.S. started to dwindle. It soon became obvious that the U.S. couldn't keep its promises for all the existing paper money, so people holding dollars rushed to exchange them before the gold ran out. Recognizing that the U.S. was going to run out of real money, on Sunday evening, August 15th, President Nixon went on television to tell the world that the U.S. was breaking its promise to let people exchange their dollars for gold. Of course, he didn't say it that way. He said it more diplomatically, without making it clear that the United States was defaulting.
The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
I watched in awe, realizing that money as we understood it was ending. What a crisis. I expected the stock market to plunge the next day, so I got on the exchange floor early to prepare. When the opening bell rang, pandemonium broke out, but not the kind I expected. The market was up, way up, and went on to rise nearly 25%. That surprised me, because I never experienced a currency devaluation before. When I dug into history, I discovered that the exact same thing happened in 1933 and had the exact same effect. Then, paper dollars were also linked to gold, which the U.S. was running out of because it was spending more paper money checks than it had gold to exchange for them. And President Roosevelt announced on the radio that he would break the country's promise to exchange dollars for gold.
It was then that I issued the proclamation providing for the national bank holiday. And this was the first step in the government's reconstruction of our financial and economic fabric. The second step, last Thursday, was the legislation promptly and patriotically passed by the Congress, confirming my proclamation and broadening my powers so that it became possible, in view of the requirement of time, to extend the holiday and lift the ban of that holiday gradually in the days to come. This law also gave authority to develop a program.
In both cases, breaking the link to gold allowed the U.S. to continue spending more than it earned, simply by printing more paper dollars. Since there was an increase in the number of dollars without an increase in the country's wealth, the value of each dollar fell. As these new dollars entered the market without a corresponding increase in...
Yeah, man. So he's explaining money and how it works in this time. Now, America is that little horn, okay, that came out of that thou that remainest of the fourth beast. Actually, let's go get that in Second Ezra. All right, so this is Second Ezra, the 11th chapter, in the 39th verse. It says, "Then I heard a voice which said unto me, Look before thee, and consider the thing that thou seest." So Ezra was being shown a vision again. "And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion." This is the Lion of Judah. We know in Revelation the 14th, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, who was able to open the seals thereof. He was the one that was worthy to open the book. Understanding. "Chased out of the wood," so the Yahweh Shai, "chased out of the wood, and I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle." The eagle, who is the eagle? Well, we know there's a nation of people that use the eagle whenever they're in power. The Romans, all right? The Greeks, America. They all use the eagle, right? In Deuteronomy says, "I shall send a nation against thee as swift as the eagle flies. Although thou exalt thyself as the eagle," right? Like it talks about. "Thence will I bring thee down." Okay, so this is talking about Edom. This is that thou that remainest of the fourth beast. Okay, because right now we're in the revived Roman Empire. Okay? The revived Roman Empire, not the Holy Roman Empire where we ruled, but the Roman Empire. Okay? Now, let's continue on. Verse 37 again from the top. "And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood, and I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, Art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world?" So you know Daniel 7, there was 4 great empires that were prophesied to rule, that the end of their times might come through them. All right, so this, we know this kingdom is that final kingdom, all right, in which we are, once we're delivered from this, the north country, this is when the kingdom of heaven becomes established, which is what we long for, all right? That's what all the men of the Lord long for. That's why they would constantly ask Yahweh Shai, will now at this time restore the kingdom again unto Israel. Okay, so this is what we're watching for. Okay, let's continue on really quick. Okay, I jumped forward a little bit because he's gonna start talking about what a world order is and how it works. Now, if you want to watch the whole video again, it's called. Let me see here. Go to Principles by Ray Dalio, and you know the video is titled Principles for Dealing with the Changing of World Order by Ray Dalio. All right, so if you want to watch the thing, the entire thing in full, okay, I might even just share it. I think I did share it already, but here we go. Come on.
This showed up in political populism and polarization between the left, who want to redistribute wealth, and the right, who want to defend those holding the wealth. And third, increasing...
And that goes, you know, that two-party system goes all the way back to the plebeians and the patricians, man. That's this nothing that's going on today is new. You see.
External conflict between a rising great power and the leading great power, as is now happening with China and the United States. So I looked back. I saw that all these had happened together before, many times, and nearly always led to changing domestic and world orders. The last time this sequence happened was from 1930 to 1945.
That second woe.
What exactly is an order, you might ask? It's a governing system for people dealing with each other. There are internal orders for governing within countries, typically laid out in constitutions. And there's a world order for governing between countries, typically laid out in treaties. Internal orders change at different times than world orders, though whether within or between countries, these These orders typically change after wars, civil wars within countries, international wars between countries.
And all that is about to play out. Egyptian shall be against the Egyptian. Okay, and we know the nations are going to be against each other as well. That third woe. So all this is prophesied to happen, but what differentiates it from any other time is that the MOTB, which is one of the last prophecies, is being pushed and instituted. Okay? This is the very kingdom where we were detached from our heritage, but now we've gained it back. It's the only captivity that's happened, and the only captivity that was going to happen. Okay? So now we're talking about not just the changing of the world order, a new country coming on top. We're talking about the kingdom of heaven being established, which is not going to be like these kingdoms. It's not going to have a shelf life. Our kingdom is going to be everlasting. The new world order that's actually going to come is going to be a righteous one, and it's going to be forever, which we partake in, which we get to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai in, and we rule in, and it's going to be in righteousness. And the earth and its functions and the people are going to operate at their fullest capacity under that rulership. None of these rulerships are going to be able to compare. Okay? We might have to go into Daniel 7 in another lesson, man, because that's what that's talking about. All those kingdoms, they had their turn to rule. All the nations, they had their turn to rule. All right? We ruled for 40 years in Israel, man, under Solomon, under David as well. Not a long period of time. Average shelf life for most kingdoms are what? 250, to 350 years, so to speak? We didn't have that long to rule. And none of these other countries, none of their ways or the customs that they keep, or the decrees that they push, were in line with righteousness, were in line with the decrees of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, which is why you see the earth, mourneth. The people mourneth. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So what we're a part of we're a part of establishing a new world order. This devil, he pushes that term all the time, but we're the actual new world order that's going to be established. All right, a lot of things have to take place first, but the actual new world order that's going to be established is ours. So when we're talking about what are we a part of, we're a part of having dominion over the earth and everything therein, the dominion of the universe, man. We serve the master of the universe.
They happen when revolutionary new forces defeat weak old orders. For example, the U.S. Internal Order was laid out in the Constitution in 1789 after the American Revolution, and it is still operating today, even after the American Civil War. Russia got rid of its old order and established a new one with the Russian Revolution in 1917, which ended in 1991 with a relatively bloodless revolution. China began its current internal order in 1949 when the Chinese Communist Party won the Civil War. You get the idea.
And this is a tangent, but the Lord setteth up kings and he taketh them down. He's been moving all these pieces around over time so that things could play out exactly how he wanted them to play out in his movie, in his script. So everybody, people that come into power is not by coincidence. The Lord setteth them up. And he put particular pieces in play so that prophecies will be fulfilled, man.
The current world order, commonly called the American World Order, formed after the Allied victory in World War II, when the U.S. emerged as the dominant world power. It was set out in agreements and treaties for how global governance and monetary systems work. In 1944, the New World Monetary System was laid out in the Bretton Woods Agreement and established the dollar as the world's leading reserve currency. A reserve currency is a currency that is commonly accepted around the world, and having one is a key factor in a country becoming the richest and most powerful empire. With a new dominant power and monetary system established, a new world order begins. These changes take place in a timeless and universal cycle that I call the Big Cycle. I'll start with a quick overview, then give you a more complete...
Now take a look at this graph. Screenshot it if you can. Now we're about, let me see here. I don't know if you can see my mouse. No, you can't. If you look a little bit past the climax at the top, well, the climax is going to be at the end if you're going by the titles of the cycle. But between financial bust and economic downturn, well, really, yeah, between financial bust and economic downturn and revolutions and wars, we're between that. We're in the middle of that. So basically, the printing money. And thing is, towards the end of this graph, is going to be a little bit different, because after revolutions and wars, in the midst of that war, we know Yahweh Shah is going to return. Okay, let's go get that. So Joel, the 3rd chapter, it talks about gathering all the nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat, the coast of Iran, and it starts naming off the nations, right? But when we go to 2nd Ezra's 13th chapter, let me go there really quick. 2nd Ezra's 13, it says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him," because all the nations are going to be gathered together, they're going to stop fighting each other and turn to fight this angelic invasion. When they come with their fleet of chariots, which some people call UFOs, some people call UAPs, whatever you want to call them. It's the chariots of the Most High, the angels, all right, the vessels that they use. It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight." Okay, and then it goes on to say, "And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only and this is just illustrating the effortlessness that it's going to take to defeat these nations. If you beat somebody in a war and it was a close one, they'll rise up again and try to overturn you. But if you completely decimate somebody where it wasn't even a fight, it was effortless, you think they're just going to get up and want to fight again when they know they have no chance at all? But the Lord's going to put the Spirit on them to fight anyway, pursuant to verse 8. But in verse 9, it shows you that it's going to be completely effortless. So there's just that 1,000-year period of us setting up the kingdom. The nations are going to see, like, whoa, there's nothing we could do to come against these people. We might as well get with the program. All right, verse 10. "But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, out of that chariot, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest." So that concentrated heat, that laser beam, and eviscerated all the nations and their armies. This is going to be a divine intervention, and that's what's going to take place. And this is going to be the beginning of the establishment of the new heavens and the new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. Okay? So, if you want to watch the rest of the video, it's a great video to watch, man. And if you want to share this, you can. Like I said, I'm on this is my new page. They flagged my other page for a video. I don't even know. They didn't even let me review it, but you know how YouTube getting down, so we know the family of the word is coming. They did a sweep, apparently. Got a bunch of brothers. But, yeah, this is a good video to watch. Like I said, the guy's page is, let me see, Principles by Ray Dalio. And, yeah, man. With that being said, Lord willing, was edifying first and foremost. But with that being said, I'm going to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And I want to say shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters who are pursuing this truth in sincerity. All right? May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.